What's up, everyone? Francisco here, otherwise known as Metal X Candy, knac.com. Be sure to follow us on our socials. I'm here to talk about night two of the Metal Injection Festival that took place about a month ago. Yes, I know this recap is overdue, but to be honest, it's so hard to keep up with all the amazing tours and concerts that are coming through LA and San Diego and just, Southern California in general. Once things started to open up, it's like the floodgates let out. All these great concerts and tours started coming through, and it's really, really hard to keep up with so much. We're fortunate, we're lucky, we're spoiled out here to have to be in a hot spot where all these great shows are happening. I'm not trying to brag. I do want to say that it kind of has a little bit of a negative effect on a lot of us, especially our wallets. But you know, the enough of that. Let's get to it. I want to talk about the night two. My little recap here. Now, again, this was just a month ago, but last night, still in recovery mode from Cavalera, Exhumed, and Insight at the Wiltern in downtown Los Angeles. Amazing, amazing show. Eagle and Max are just filled with fire. Go check out my night one recap, and you'll hear all about Cavalera, Exhumed, Insight, Fueled by Fire, and all the other acts on that night in Santa Ana on a Saturday. Now we're here to talk about night two at the House of Blues of Anaheim, a great venue. Now this is the new House of Blues that's at the Garden Walk. Formerly was at Downtown Disney, but Mickey Mouse had a bit of a problem with the evil imagery, if you will. But House of Blues of Anaheim in the Garden Walk has been a nice stop for a lot of tours and concerts, like I said. And one of my favorite venues, honestly. A lot of cool memories, a lot of good shows that I've caught there. Now, unfortunately, due to work and the long trip from LA to Orange County, I only managed to get there in time for Fear Factory, Machine Head, and Testament. The other bands on the bill worth mentioning are Upon a Stone from Los Angeles, King, KYNG from Los Angeles as well, Ex Mortis from LA, Whittier to be more specific, and the Outcast were Spirit Adrift from Arizona. Now, the cool thing about this, Frank and Metal Injection had put together this festival with a lot of locals. Why? Who knows? We don't really need a reason, but it's cool to see them supporting locals and up and coming bands. So whatever the case may be as to why Frank and Metal Injection decided to support Los Angeles metal, well, there you go. You guys got a nice little forum for yourself. These guys put on a pretty good show from what I can tell. Watched the YouTube videos that were available and good stuff. Seen King a couple of times and they're really entertaining. So Spirit Adrift from Arizona recently released Ghosts in the Gallows, a new album. Check that out. And also Ex Mortis had released something back in August called Necrophony. I had a conversation with Conan of Ex Mortis about the new album, so go check that out. King, Stoner Rock, they recently put out a single for Haunting Visions. They haven't put out a release in a while, but it's good to see that they're out there still getting work done. And Upon a Stone, some death metal with like melodic elements. A new band with an EP out, recently signed to Century Media. Hardly any traction. They haven't really cut their teeth out in the scene. Maybe in a local level, sure, but to be signed by Century Media already speaks highly of them, so keep an eye out for those guys. But without further ado, let's move on to the top three bands of the night: Fear Factory, Machine Head, and Testament. That alone is enough to come out and see this amazing show. Testament on their own have sold out several venues. Fear Factory, I'm sure, has sold out so many venues. Machine Head, needless to say, have sold out a lot of venues. So why was this night two not sold out? I will never know. It's jam-packed full of great, amazing bands. Now, when you compare it to the night before at Santa Ana, the Observatory, that was a more of a quote-unquote underground, more extreme side of things, whereas Sunday night was totally mainstream. Machine Head doesn't get much more mainstream than that. No offense, but it's true. It's that new wave of American heavy metal that is, really hot nowadays. Again, mainstream music, when you have bands like Fear Factory that have been doing it for a long time as well, they gave way to new metal, whether you like it or not. And whether you like it or not, also I'm going to say this: new metal is back. I hate to say it, but it's back. Um, I can hear the hate. I don't care. But credit where credit is due. Fear Factory are the ones to blame for new metal because they started really early on doing that clean singing versus aggressive, abrasive vocals, and bring that style to what became new metal. All this syncopation between the guitars and the bass drum, kick drum. Do your due diligence and check out the early Fear Factory stuff. I'm talking even before Obsolete. You have Soul of a New Machine and Fear is a Mind Killer and G Manufactured. Some of the most amazing albums. I've been a long time fan of Fear Factory, and I want to even show you my poster here for Obsolete. Cool shit. So don't say I'm not a supporter. I know what I'm talking about. But yeah, they gave way to new metal, and I've got to say this is probably one of the tightest sets that I've heard them do in a long time. No disrespect to prior shows, but like having seen them numerous times, it's just this time around something about it sounded really really well polished. But that's not to say that the night was not without its whimsies, uh, as Sheldon would say. But right from the get-go, there was a little bit of a problem, nothing major. They had a sample playing, somebody giving some sort of speech, and they would skip a couple of times. Finally, somebody came out and, fast forwarded. The show came on, and they started out with their Obsolete set. A great, great record. Again, it was on the cusp of that new metal, the kind of the rappy vibe that a lot of new metal entails. Obsolete, one of my favorite records. They went through that album, not the whole entire album, but they played a lot of the great cuts off that album, like Edge Crusher, Obsolete, of course. And then eventually they would go on to the Demanufacture set, nearly playing all the cuts, especially the one from Mortal Kombat, Zero Signal. That movie alone was great, but I think it helped the fact that it had such an amazing soundtrack from, besides Fear Factory, Napalm Death, just to name a few. I don't know who else. I forgot who else was on that, but it's a great soundtrack. Mortal Kombat, the original, was a great flick too, especially for the time. Talk about nostalgia. But Fear Factory had a really great, powerful set. The new singer, Milo Silvestro, Italiano, a great, great vocalist. I don't want to say the replacement for Burt Bell, but he really had some big shoes to fill and did an amazing job. It was actually my first time seeing them with this new vocalist. I've seen them several times with Tony Campos of Static X, otherwise known as Maldito X, who's been playing bass for Fear Factory and with Dino for quite some time, really bringing in that low, guttery, low end. I love it. And but this new vocalist, he really knew how to control his voice. At the same time, he had basically the power in his hands, literally. Like he had this little harmonizer vocal thing, a little contraction, little mixers going on for some added effects to his voice. He controlled that thing. You could see it. There was like a little podium right in front of him. He also had this harmonizer on the floor that he would, the harmonizer is like a guitar pedal, but for vocals. You step on it, it clicks, and brings out the effects. For the dynamic of the clean singing back to the aggressive, abrasive singing. Great control of this. This is very important because a lot of times sound guys really, really have struggled to capture Burton's vocals in a live atmosphere. But yeah, it goes back to what I was saying about how these new metal bands, Korn especially, were heavily influenced by Fear Factory sound, whether they admit it or not. But that clean singing to abrasive singing really comes from Fear Factory. So credit to Fear Factory for really shattering the windows and coming up with a new genre. And still kind of encompassing everything that was industrial metal and death metal, especially those early records, Soul of a New Machine and Fears and Mind Killer. Go check those out if you haven't. If you haven't, where the fuck have you been? But Peter Weber on drum duty for Fear Factory did an amazing job. No, a great set all around by Fear Factory. It was really impressive. Really sounded really tight. Really engaging with the crowd. The one thing I'll say that I've seen a lot lately is like there's no overhead mics on drums anymore, so it's really hard to hear those cymbals. So if you're a sound man out there, man, throw some overheads on those cymbals, man, because they really don't cut through live. Depending on the series of cymbals that the drummer has. I mean, it's really important to get those cymbals coming through live. But be that as it may. next up, let's talk about Machine fucking Head. Always so full of energy. I remember back in the day when I saw these guys open up for Slayer. I think it was the Divine Intervention tour at the Shrine in Los Angeles. And man, it's so cool to see how far Machine Head and Rob Flynn have come with the band. They've always been a band that have catered to the times. The new metal thing as well. They were in the in the middle of the whole thing. You know, Rob Flynn with his cornrows and his baggy clothes. He was all about that new metal thing. And the band, like I said, Machine Head has always been that band that has uh, went along with all the hot music, the trendy. Sorry to say it that way. Machine Head was always fitting in with a lot of the music that was happening at specific moments. The 90s early groove metal that was happening, breaking through to the new metal, and then you had the long epic songs, the little prog rock or prog metal stuff, the indie rock as I'd call it. When you had bands like Mastodon writing these long epic songs, you know, with Machine Head and the Blackening, and fast forward and like now they kind of I don't want to say plateaued, but they have been writing material that really encompasses the Machine Head sound, where it's still aggressive and a lot of groove, a lot of groove. But I think they've embraced more of the melody and the clean singing aspect. Sorry, I know I'm not in the minority here, but clean singing, yeah, not a fan, not my thing, you know. But to each their own. Machine Head and Rob Flynn have successfully taken the Machine Head name and are one of the outstanding faces of modern metal. Definitely that American wave of heavy metal. So energetic live. Rob Flynn just, you know, kind of prancing out slowly, you know, walking to the center of the stage as the crowd is just chanting Machine fucking Head. Really pumped up to see Machine Head, as we all were. They put on an amazing set. Only 8 songs, even though it did feel like it was going on a lot longer, but only 8 songs. Of course, you know, some of my favorites are old, 10-Ton Hammer, especially Davidian, like one of my favorite songs, that catch. Let freedom ring with the shotgun blast. Heavy as fuck, heavy as fuck. So that and some cuts off the Blackening, you know, like Halo. Other songs were Aesthetics of Hate. The Dimebag dedication, Aesthetics of Hate, the song that he, before he introduced the song, he just let us know that this song came to him under the influence, under the sad and tragic news of Dimebag's murder. It really struck a nerve with him, and yeah, these lyrics and the song just kind of came out flowing like the tears that I'm sure he was going through. But amazing, powerful set. The drums, holy man, the drums were super high on this riser, and from where I was sitting, he looked like the whole drum riser was shaking as Homeboy was like throwing it down. The drummer did an amazing job behind the kit. I do want to say that through Rob's constant you know, reaching out to the fans and be like, "What's up, metalheads? And I was ready to rock." And it felt like a Peloton commercial. He's like guiding us and, you know, pumping us up here and there between songs, during the intros of songs, during the, you know, the little breaks or bridges in songs, and really reaching out to the crowd. So it really felt like some sort of like exercise coach really trying to pump you up. And I guess that's what they do, right? That's what makes a good frontman, is get the crowd into it, you know, pump them up, and you know, get that floor moving. He was constantly like reaching out, like, "Let's see the fucking biggest circle pit of the night." And man, those guys were raging out of control. Seriously, the LA, Orange County, probably from San Diego, and who knows where all these people came from. For again, this second night of the Metal Injection Festival. this inaugural festival. Uh, Amazing, amazing, amazing. The second night did feel quite different from the first night. That was more leaning towards the extreme side of stuff with Cavalera, Exhumed, Insight, and others. This night was a more mainstream side of things. Uh, and Machine Head is one of the top mainstream metal bands out there, really bringing heavy success to American metal. It needs to be recognized. That um, personally, I feel like American metal needs more breakout bands, more bands, not just representative of like the likes of Machine Head, but something more extreme. And honestly, that's why I cater to a lot of death metal. From New York to Florida, even California metal. It's slacking a little bit, but then you have bands like Autopsy, Chris Reifert, who I recently interviewed, amazing gentleman. And then you have uh, Deeds of Flesh, one of my favorite bands of all time, Mike Hamilton on drums for Exhumed, who I saw last night and played the first night at the Metal Injection Festival. But I digress. Let's bring it back to the second night of the Metal Injection Festival at the House of Blues of Anaheim. This was all topped off by the one and only Testament. It wasn't previously announced, decided to do a special set themselves to align with the idea that Pure Factory had with demanufacture and obsolete. And so Testament decided to do their first couple of albums, The Legacy and New Order. Great, great albums if you've not checked those out. And I guess it was in celebration of getting back, ownership rights to the albums. And now with Nuclear Blast, they would be, planning a re-release of these albums. That's what Chuck said. So, anxious to hear those re-releases. Probably remastered, I'm sure, with a lot of great artwork. So stay tuned to KNC.com for that. Again, be sure you're following our socials. Be sure you're following my socials, Metalix Candy at KNC.com. Thanks again for checking in with us here. Talking now about the main event, Testament, Bay Area Thrash, California Metal. Talking about California Metal being represented by bands like Testament. So great to see these guys. I'm such a huge fan of these guys. Right from the get-go, you notice the chemistry between Eric Peterson and Alex Skolnick, some of the most amazing guitarists out there. And their chemistry is unmatched. Just seeing them like trade off on guitar solos and leads, it's just amazing to watch them two at it. And just in general, testament that they've been doing this for over fucking 30 years. One of uh, one of the great thrash metal bands to come out of the United States, California, and the Bay Area. We talk about the Bay Area thrash metal scene, and they are a great example of not just that, but the fact that they're still out there doing it. Um, and It's great to see them out there. Chuck Billy is always entertaining to watch. He's an amazing frontman. Um, Also, one of those vocalists that I wouldn't say he did a lot of clean singing, but they did have some ballads. Um, but they were never the type to really go back and forth between the clean singing and the heavy vocals. It was always really more abrasive, especially if you heard Demonic, which featured Gene Hoglan on drums, his first appearance there. Um, Demonic is one of my favorite records because Chuck Billy really belted out some like pretty much death metal style vocals. That death metal element that bleeds into a lot of genres, especially like groove metal. I see a lot of these groove metal bands trying to incorporate this stuff, and yeah, it's usually hit and miss with me. But be that as it may, Testament, amazing. Also part of the legacy of Death was Steve DiGiorgio on bass, amazing bass player. Uh, but no Gene Hoglan on this one, unfortunately. I didn't catch the name of the drummer for Testament. He's the new kid on the block. Still held his ground and did an amazing job. The fact that you are able to play all these outstanding cuts from some classic albums. Some of these songs were never played before live. Some of these have never been played before in a long time. So it's an awesome experience if you were there. It's one of those like once. Well, I don't know if it's going to be a once in a lifetime thing, but to be there, you really caught an extraordinary time to be able to catch these two albums live. Um, some would say that playing whole albums live is kind of outplayed, but it depends on the album, I guess, and it depends on the band too. Um, I was there when Iron Maiden did Matter of Life and Death, and that album is a great album. But I know I speak for a lot of Iron Maiden fans where we wanted to just hear all the cuts, and Iron Maiden needs to, evolve. As long as they've been doing it, but save that conversation for another day. Back to Testament. keep getting sidetracked. I'm telling you, all these amazing concerts happening, uh, and I myself been to so many great shows that I can't help but talk about it. We can talk about this for hours. If we ever sit down and have a beer, let's talk about music. I can talk about it for days. Shout out to my homeboy Omar, who we just celebrated his bachelor weekend out in Vegas. A lot of drinking going on, but he knows once we get into conversation about metal, we'll be talking about it for hours. And I remember being out at the House of Blues of Anaheim, talking about all the great shows I've been to out there. Anthrax and Testament with this girl, his fiancee Veronica. Congratulations to them getting married soon. I have a picture of us out there for that show. I'll try and throw it up on this. But again, with Testament, doing a Legacy and New Order set, really great set. You hear songs like Alone in the Dark and Into the Pit, one of my favorite songs. So, and again, the chemistry between Alex Skolnick, Steve DiGiorgio, and Eric Peterson is just amazing. I got some footage here for you as well. You enjoyed the footage that I've got of the Fear Factory and Machine Head. And I gotta say a shout out to Frank and everyone at Metal Injection for this first go around the inaugural Metal Injection Festival that took place in 2 nights, both in Orange County, Santa Ana on Saturday at the Observatory and Sunday at the House of Blues of Anaheim. A great first go around. Applause to all you guys. Can't wait for the next time. I'm sure there will be a next time. Who knows what's in store for this? This one kept in tradition of Summer Slaughter, the early years, and maybe even the later years where it kind of started to change its face a little bit. The California Metal Fest and all the great metal fests that are few and far between in the United States. I know I speak for a lot of the bands and fans that attended that we are looking forward and hopeful for next year's installment of the Metal Injection Festival. This might set a precedent for all future festivals. Maybe he'll have one in Los Angeles, though I will say Los Angeles does not have a venue that can hold this for 2 nights. 2 venues, maybe, but I won't name names, but there's venues out here that just can't hold this monster, man. So I can understand why Frank chose to do it out in Orange County. But who knows? Maybe next year some nice venues will open up. There are some good venues out here that have potential, but from what I've noticed, they don't have metal shows yet. So regardless of some vocal mic issues that happened, Testament still put on a great set. And again, New Order and Legacy set. Fear Factory doing a demanufacture and obsolete set, Machine Head, just random songs from The Blackening, Burn My Eyes, 10 Ton Hammer. Such energy from all the bands combined. This Metal Injection Festival was definitely one to behold. The first night was my favorite night, sold out night for Cavalera, Exhumed, and Insight, and House of Blues Anaheim. I don't know why it wasn't sold out, but it was still an amazing show, and always great to see some friends and some acquaintances out there. So, but thanks for tuning in again, Francisco, otherwise known as Metal X Candy, knec.com. Make sure you follow our socials. Make sure you follow Metal Injection. Shout out to Frank and everyone at Metal Injection. Thank you for this first go around of the inaugural Metal Injection Festival. Cheers.